Okay, so since August 1st, since the start of this month, Nigeria has been engulfed in widespread protests driven by significant dissatisfaction with a rising cost of living and perceived government mismanagement. The demonstrations, which began last week, Thursday, the 1st of August, reflect deep frustration over economic hardship and governance issues. Amnesty International has reported at least 13 fatalities resulting from clashes between protesters and security forces, including incidents involving an explosive device in Borno State, a car accident as well, and shootings during the protest. The protest, known as 10 Days of Rage and Bad Governance, have faced a harsh police response, with official death tolls varying. Amnesty International's figure are higher compared to the police's count of 7 deaths, which includes fatalities from accidents and explosive devices. In response, President Bola Tinubu made his first public remark since the unrest began on 1st August. He made this remark on Sunday. Tinubu urged an end to the protests to facilitate dialogues, emphasizing his openness to discussions and acknowledging public grievances. He stated, "My dear Nigerians, especially our youth, I have heard you loud and clear. I understand the pain and frustration that drive these protests, and I want to assure you that our government is committed to listening and addressing the concerns of our citizens." While this call for dialogue hopes to reflect the government's attempt to manage the crisis and restore order. But critics argue that it may be a superficial gesture unless followed by substantial policy reforms. There are concerns that without tangible actions addressing the root causes of the protest, the dialogue might not lead to meaningful change. Several prominent Nigerian political figures have reacted to the recent protest and the government's response. While the governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, as well as the likes of the Minister for the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria, Nyesom Wike, have expressed concerns over the situation and have called for restraint from both protesters and security forces and warning the public against further escalation of violence. But we've heard from the likes of Senator Dino Milai, a vocal critic of the current government. We've heard from the likes of Senator Dino Milaye, a vocal critic of the current administration. Senator Milaye has condemned the government's response to the protest. The Senator Milaye has condemned the government's response to the protests. He has accused the government of mishandling the situation and exacerbating tensions through excessive force, as well as Atiku Abubakar, who was the former vice president as well as the last election's presidential candidate, also called for an immediate end to the violence and for the government to address the protesters' concerns seriously. He has emphasized the need for economic reforms and better governance to alleviate public dissatisfaction. The popular Peter Obi, who was also a candidate of the Labour Party for the last presidential elections, expressed solidarity with the protesters, highlighting the need for the government to address the root causes of the unrest. Peter Obi, another critic of the current government, has criticized yet again the administration's handling of the situation, calling for a transparent investigation into the violence. Nigerians are not the only one reacting. The situation has also drawn global attention and reactions from various international bodies and prominent figures. The United Nations has called for restraint and a thorough investigation into the violence. Human Rights Watch has condemned the excessive use of force by security forces and demanded accountability. The European Union has urged the Nigerian government to engage in genuine dialogue and implement necessary reforms. International reactions have also come from notable figures such as the former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who has criticized the Nigerian government's handling of the protest and called for increased international scrutiny. Additionally, the International Federation for Human Rights, the FIDH, has expressed concerns over the reported abuses and has advocated for internal and international pressure on Nigeria to address the situation transparently. The protest highlights profound discontent with Nigeria's governance and economic management. The success of the government's response, including the proposed dialogue, will be crucial in determining the future directions of these demonstrations. Well, for the dialogue to be effective, it must lead to concrete policy changes and address the underlying issues that sparked the unrest. The coming days will be critical in shaping whether this period of unrest can lead to a meaningful reform or further escalate existing tensions.